to have him. So he, as I mentioned in my message, he is a pillar in the solar community. In California, I feel he's a huge reason why California has a solar program. And he's actually the one that introduced me to Terry Loftus and to solar when I was 19 years old. So yeah, he's been a big part of my solar career. Dana's, Terry's, he knows Wade Tano. He's worked with a lot of us in the past, and he's going to teach us something that I use to this day, 10, 12 years later. And I'm super excited about that. So, Mr. Tim Powell, go ahead and take it away, brother.
All right, I'm on. Hello, everybody. I'm Tim Powell. I don't know about a pillar, but I love the solar industry. It's been good to me. It's been almost 12 years. Facebook was sharing posts. I was posting stuff about PG&E and switching to solar 11, 12 years ago on Facebook. So I just saw something today. I was cracking up. It's good to see my recruit Nate. It's on there. Cool. So I just want to introduce myself by just talking a little bit about where I come from background wise. And I can't do that without starting with Terry Loftus. I call her the godmother of solar. So when I was managing Radio Shacks for 7 years, that's how I met Chris Jackson that's on here. But then they went under, right? So I was without a job, and she was working at a company called Acro Energy, and they were a partner of Sunrun. And it was just her and three other ladies in an office setting appointments for outside salespeople. And so she said, "Hey, do you want a job? It's $10 an hour. Plus, if you set an appointment for a sales guy and they sell it, you make $200. Think about that, people." So it's $10 an hour. And then if an outside salesman sold it, I got $200. That's crazy when I think about the money we're making right now. But within a week at that company, the owner was asking, "You think you guys could sell over the phone?" And the rest was history. I said, "Put me on a phone, let me sell something." And me and Terry, I think we broke the Sunrun system, because back then you had to put certain numbers into this formula for Sunrun to come up with the PPA. And we were trying every way to make those numbers work best for us. I must have ran with thousands of proposals with Terry Loftus, just me and her in an office, and just until we broke them. And then a lot of their rules that they set to this day is because of us. So, but they were also always coming to our office and getting stuff to use with their sales team. So, but that's where I started out, and I owe so much to Terry Loftus. I went from there to an East Coast. Yeah, totally. She's awesome. She's probably the brightest and most intelligent person in solar that I've ever met. And I don't think I've ever met anybody that's smarter than she is when it comes to this industry. But then I went from there to another Sunrun partner. They were the largest partner on the East Coast, and they wanted to open up in California. They were called Roof Diagnostics, and just a great experience. But 2 months into that, that's when Sunrun bought REC. And so Roof Diagnostics was pissed, thinking it should have been them. And so they said, "Well, screw them. We're going to go with NRG and use their product," because NRG had a lease product. And so that's when NRG just ended up buying Roof Diagnostics and kind of messed us up, because Roof Diagnostics was a great company. And then we went corporate, and it was downhill from there. So, but I'm just saying all of that because what I'm going to show you right now we're going to kill the bill. This is an old slide deck. You're going to see some old pictures. I didn't create it. It was created, I think, somewhere in the Varango days with those salespeople. Like, that's how far back selling price per kilowatt hour goes. Because in the early days, we had to sell tier shaving price per kilowatt hour. And we let them have tiers 1 and 2, and we just shaved off the rest of their tiers. There was 5 tiers back then. So we had to sell a price per kilowatt hour, but it still works. I know a lot of people like to sell on price per month and how much you're saving per month. And to me, savings is a dirty word. We'll get into that when you're in the home. Savings is a word you don't want to use unless you're whispering it into their ear. No, I'm joking. So I got to share my screen here on the kill the bill. Let's see if everybody can see it. Hey, there's Terry. I see her. She's on video now. I see her. Hey, I just gave you a bunch of props. I don't know if you heard it all, but
I did hear it all, and I literally almost started crying. Those were the nicest things that anybody has ever said to me, except for maybe Dana has said a couple nice things and Anthony has. Other than that, like literally, I'm gonna cry. Thank you, Tim.
how many hours did we spend in that little office in Oakdale? Just
Yeah.
doing done run proposals and tweaking their system until we broke it.
Yeah. And did you know that they came and met with us and said that we weren't allowed to do that, that we had to stop what we were doing because it just wasn't fair to the other installers? I'm all,
Yeah, you know, all these promos that Powur is doing every month about paying for a year. I was like, oh, we were doing that 12 years ago. We were tweaking Sunrun system, and they had to change all their rules because we were doing that. So
yeah.
you're awesome, Terry. I just wanted to give you props.
Well,
I know.
thank you. You are too. I can't wait to see your presentation. So let's just keep going.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going here. So I know Anthony's been a part of it. Chris Shack, we've done this many times, this presentation as part of a solar boot camp with new reps. So if you're looking to hire, you know, reps in these new states, maybe we fly in, we do a solar boot camp for 3 days, because I fully believe you could have a guy trained up in 3 days to sell solar. He doesn't have to be a professional. The more you know, the worse you do. That's the way I say it in solar. The more you know, you're just going to spew out everything you know, and nobody cares about that. You know, so if you just keep it simple, stupid, you're going to sell better in this industry. And when you get off into the weeds, and I heard all the training on the micro inverters and all that, you know how rare it is. I have customers getting into that talk. It's super rare. You have that engineer every once in a while that gets into it, but you can even divert them away from that if you're a good enough salesperson. So let's get into this. Can everybody see my screen? Is it big enough? I need to do slideshow, I think. And start from current slide. All right, is that better? I hope you're shaking your heads because I can only see Terry. Everybody else doesn't have their video on. You can see it? We're good?
We see it, yes, sir.
All right, so just know that I just put this Powur slide in it, but most other pictures are like really old. You're gonna crack up. We'll have a good time. So utility bills. Let's get into this. So did you know you're paying for all kinds of charges in your electric bill? And by the way, I know we're from different states here. You need to have your utility bills that you sell to the most. You need to know them front to back, left to right, top to bottom. You need to know how your utility charges and what the customers are paying for. So I'm paying for what? And this is what we get into a lot with our customers: generation. That's the amount, you know, that it costs to produce the energy that they're paying for. Transmission, that's from the high voltage lines, getting it to your neighborhood substation, right? And then distribution from the substation to your home. So generation, then you got transmission, and distribution is delivery. Those two combined are delivery. So delivery charges. All right, don't you just love this pizza man? So I know we're in the 2000s now, 2022, and so there are other pitches you can use besides the pizza man pitch, but I'm just going to go through it. You could use the Amazon delivery. How much do you pay for your Amazon? And if you guys can take yourselves off mute, I love feedback. It's kind of hard for me to just talk and hear myself. I love feedback, but so this is the pizza man pitch, but you could take it to Amazon. How much does Amazon charge for delivery and stuff like that? And how soon do you get it? Stuff like, so it's more, but we always used to use this pizza delivery. You ask the customer how much you pay for a large pizza, and it says 20 bucks on here. We don't pay 20 bucks for a large pizza nowadays, but most of us, we go to a nice pizza place. For a large pizza, you're 30, 40 bucks almost for a nice, good sized pizza. Jackson, you were just at Mountain Mike's. What was a large pizza going for?
$31.99.
$31.99. All right. And so imagine if you bought that pizza and it was only $2 for them. It probably was only $2 for them to make, but over half of what you were paying for in that pizza was for them to deliver it to your house. That would be pretty crazy. Most of us would get in our car, go to the pizza place, and not pay for the delivery, right? Wait, it's delivery charges are insane, and we want to drive when we're talking about the bill, especially with PG&E. You know, you got the IOUs. I use that term all the time in California public utilities. It's an investor-owned utility. We got to put a question mark on the utility. We got to drive the uncertainty of the utility, because what do we sell when we sell solar? When somebody, Terry Loftus, if somebody asks you, what do you sell? What do you tell them?
Usually they don't ask that, but really freedom, right? We sell freedom and savings,
Peace of mind.
peace of mind.
Yeah, yeah. So I personally sell control and predictability. Aren't those two things that most people want? Control and predictability. And those are two things that the utility company are not. So we got to drive those points through the whole kill the bill process. So there's other charges on the bill. If you've ever read an PG&E bill, you'll see nuclear decommissioning charges, public purpose programs. A lot of these are pass-through charges now too. So you don't have to get into the weeds of all that. I just want to get through this. So decades of expensive rate hikes. Now, not all utilities have that, right? So when we're building pain, there's some utilities that don't have the rate hikes. Like we deal with, we don't want to, I know, but MID and some of these other utilities that rarely raise their rates. So you really can't talk about what their rates used to be. You could talk about maybe they use more nowadays. That's why they need solar. But so here's what we're looking at when we're building the pain. Our product sells itself because of trust and simplicity. The utility bill explanation is all about driving the lack of trust and simplicity. So the bill review is only about the current utility and the customer. This is important. So when you have that customer, hopefully you have a copy of their bill and not just on your computer. I know when we're doing Zooms, we have to pull it up on the computer. I get that. But when I'm in the home, I like to print it out, take it with me. I like to have a copy that I could write all over because it just, that's the way I do it. Maybe I'm old school. Dana's probably shaking his head yes right now, but that's the way I do it. So when you're talking about the bill with the customer, you're not introducing any concepts. You're not talking solar whatsoever. This is all about driving the lack of trust in the utility. So as Powur reps, our competitors are not Tesla, are not the other solar companies out there. Our competitor is the utility. You got to remember that when you're going into the home, I'm competing against the utility, not these other solar people. So that's I want to give the customer control and predictability, and that's my whole thing when I'm going over the bill. That's what I'm driving for right there. All right. So ways bill the pain. Ask the customer how they pay their bill. And I would say 7 out of 10 times the wife pays the bill and never looks at it. And the husband never looks at it ever. The wife just sees the price, pays it. It's rare. I don't know. To me, it's rare when you're in the home. My son's putting my dog outside. He's gonna start barking. So it's rare that the husband's paying the bills. I don't know why that is, but it's rare. So, okay, ask how much time they spend looking at the bill each month. And I'm gonna put my dog inside the house. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Well, I've actually presented this a few times as well, so I can go over this myself. So I have the same exact presentation, but bill review, building the pain, ask the customer how they pay their bill. Ask them if it's paper, online, auto pay, whatever. You want to just kind of get some sort of emotion, right, Tim, out of kind of how they pay the bill and how they look at it and everything, right?
Definitely. It's important. You want to know how they pay it because you want to get them talking about their bill. If you're doing all the talking like I am during this presentation, you know, it's a harder sell. You want to get them talking, because then they're going to bring up why they hate PG&E. I've never had a customer talk about how they love PG&E, and in a lot of years, but I've had a lot of customers that hate PG&E. If you get them talking about it, it sells itself. So who opens the bill? Who pays the bill? This is a good question to ask. Historically, do you remember when? And I talk about when I first got into solar, the first two tiers were protected. They were 10 and 11 cents a kilowatt hour. That's only 12 years ago. It's not that long ago. The first two tiers were 10 and 11 cents. And now they're 35 cents and 40 something cents. It's crazy. And those are the type of words you want to use, which is another slide deck on here. You know, have you ever done anything to try and to conserve? Get them talking about what they do, their actions because of their utility bill. And it's crazy how people have to, their lives are controlled by their utility. It's crazy how they adjust because of what they think they're going to have to pay to the utility. It's people change their lives. Like there's old rates with PG&E. I think it was an E6 or something like, or it might've been an E7, an old rate that was a time of use, and people completely changed their lives to fit into that time of use because it saved them $100 a month. And it's crazy what people do, you know, for just a little bit of savings. And imagine what they'll do for a lot, right? When we're going to come in and show them what we could do. But get them to talk about, if they don't want to talk about it, that's why this says tell a story. I remember when my bill was $65, you have to tell a story if they don't want to. So let's keep it going. You got me on a time limit, right, Anthony? So you said 7:30.
You're good. 7:30.
No, okay, so distribution and generation, where does the money go and why? Majority of the bill is not power. So out of every dollar spent, you know, you're looking at 50 cents is for generation, and then the rest, about 35, you know, sometimes even more percentage of that is for delivery, which is crazy. That's why the pizza delivery analogy just works. Like you're paying so much for delivery. And with solar, we just talked about how we want to cut out the middleman, right? The delivery driver. We just want to create that electricity on your roof and cut out. That's where our savings comes in. We're cutting out that middleman. We're producing the power right from your roof, right into your home. And, you know, in the PPA days, you know, we cut out that middleman, but now you're the owner. So you're cutting out the big man too, right? And putting them in big man shoes. That's the way I look at it. You're making them their own power company for their house. They're going to own it for the lifetime of that home that they're there. So that's important things, important concepts to talk about nowadays. Don't get bogged down in the details. Paint a picture of complexity, revisit control and predictability. If they remember what their bills were like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, be prepared. This is funny. With your arsenal if needed. Has anybody ever put a pitch book together? We used to do that with salesmen and sales ladies. We used to print out, we'd have a stack of papers that were going to go into their pitch book. And we were prepared when we went into the home with that. So leave it in the car unless you need it. That's pretty good stuff. This is something I think you need a historical rate chart for your utility. I think you should have it if you need it. Most of the times I'm writing it down and talking to it. But if they look uncertain, you can even pull up the PG&E website and go to the historical rates and show them what they used to be. But when they look at the tiers and they see, you want them to see what the numbers were, what they are today, and then you want them knowing where they're going. Do we know exactly where they're going to go? No, but we show them the projection, and they in their minds come up with the idea where it's going to go to. So 11 cents, we're at 30 cents. You know, I've had customers tell me 70, 80 cents a kilowatt hour. Can I tell them, no, it's not? No, I can't. But as long as they believe that, I'm going to sell a deal. That's for sure. So given your current utility company rates and current economy, how much do you think the rate will be 10 years from now? This is a big question that I ask almost every customer. what do you think your rate's going to be 10 years from now? Because remember, our goal is control and predictability. And when we're offering that, this is a huge point. Like if they really think that their power is going to go to 60, 70, 80 cents, selling at 30 cents wouldn't be a big deal. It'd be pretty easy compared to where they think their power is going. So these concepts are important. I write it on the bill. I write it real big, or I have them write it. This is important. You show them where it's at, where it's been, where do you think it's going? What are you going to have to give up in the future to pay your utility bill? That's what I want to know. What are you going to have to give up?
Tim, you're muted. Tim, we can't hear you.
The audio's out. So one thing with this as well is that,
is it back on now?
yeah, the audio's on, yeah.
The earbuds got.
Oh.
Go ahead. You were going to say something.
Well, yeah. So I was going to say with this right here as well, because we would have the customers write down or tell us what they think that the future rates will be at. If they didn't do anything dramatic, we wouldn't move forward. We wouldn't show them a proposal. We wouldn't show them numbers or anything, right? Because I mean, we were trained that if we can kill PG&E, if we can get them to not hate PG&E, but but if we can get them to hate PG&E or the utility company, hate their current situation, solar's just an easy option at that point. So if we, if right now rates are 20 cents and then we're like, hey, what do you think rates will be in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years? And they say, oh, 21 cents, I did a bad job. I didn't do my job correctly. Right. Okay, well, let's go ahead and go back over here. Let's go back over here. Let's go back over here. Don't move forward past this point of going over the utility and historical rates and their current situation and all that good stuff, right? Don't go past that point unless the customer in their mind is convinced that the rates are going to increase. Because I could say it, Tim could say it, we all could say it all day and tomorrow, the rates are increasing. And I've heard a lot of presentations where the salesman, like Tim says, just talking, right?
Yeah.
Just the rates are going to increase. The rates are going to increase. No. Let the customer tell you the rates are going to increase.
So what's the biggest objection? Somebody spit it up besides Anthony. An objection you would get. You haven't even talked solar yet. They're going to give you an objection. But I've just killed the bill with this customer. They wrote down 60 cents, which isn't that high. We're almost there now, right? We're averaging 40 cents, some customers. So if they wrote down 60 cents and they come at me with, I don't like the way it looks, I'm going to point to the 60 cents, right? That overcomes almost every objection that they have. If they believe their power is going to be 60 cents, why would they want to wait for it to get there when they could control their power now, right? To me, it weeds out every objection, when they've written down what they're going to be paying per kilowatt hour. So to me, and I know PG&E, it's a lot easier than it is in some states that have 12, 13 cents a kilowatt hour. But you know what? They're shutting down nuclear in those states too. You have so many articles you can go to about how rates are going to be increasing because the cheaper electricity is going away. Nuclear is going away. So where are they going to get their electricity from, right? So you still have in your utility a way to kill the bill, just like this. This is just on a much larger scale. I completely get it. And if you have something to say and want to unmute, go feel free, because I know I'm just talking a lot. So it's good. Do not rush this. It is the most important part of the sales process. And that's what Anthony was getting into. So price per kilowatt hour. It's super important. And did you know that it's super easy to get the price per kilowatt hour? They put it on our proposal. Powur does it for us. Isn't that nice of them? You can scroll all the way to the bottom. It'll be there. And then it'll also be in the portion where it's talking about the payment numbers. It gives us what the price per kilowatt hour is. And you know what? I don't sell on the price per kilowatt hour of the first 18 months. I sell when it's going to go up, that price per kilowatt hour. That's the number I look at. I say for the first 18 months, you're going to be paying this price, but after that, this is where we got you locked in at. I used to sell PPAs with a 4.5% escalator. So if I can sell that, I can sell them locked in, no problem. You know, after the loan gets locked in at the 19th month. So does that make sense to everyone? I asked that, but I know not going to hear nothing back. I love it. So this is something I talked about, what they're going to give up. What are they going to sacrifice to pay in the future? That is a college headstone. I know it looks like the cemetery. No, they're not going to be dead. But retirement, boats, vacations, you know, if they're averaging $400, $500, $600 a month now, 10 years from now, that could be $1,200 to $1,500 a month in retirement on a fixed income. Go for it, Anthony. I see your raised hand.
Well, not just what are they going to, you know, what are they going to sacrifice in the future, but also like we do run into a lot of elderly folks, right, that are on a fixed income. So a good question is, what are you currently sacrificing, right? Why aren't you using your AC? Because if you use your AC this month, you don't get to eat next month. You don't get to do this next month, right? So you can have those conversations, and you can. It needs to get emotional.
I like no, it's they're living in the future, right? That's right now. That's what they are giving up. So we use it all the time, don't we? Imagine if you could go back 20 years ago and lock in the rates at 10 and 11 cents. You would do that.
Yep.
You would do that. So that's what we're trying to get you to do now.
Yep. Dana has his hand up as well.
Go for it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, man, it's really good information that you're providing tonight. And sometimes that sacrifice is more than dollars, right? I met with the police officer today, and their average bill is $650. And he has to work tons of overtime in Sacramento. He lives in Ripon, which is an hour plus away. He says, I never see my wife. I never see my 15 and 16-year-old daughter. And by going solar, he said, I can actually not work as much as I do now and be with my family. Right? So,
how crazy is that? And imagine he's working all that overtime as a cop, and they take out like 60% taxes on that overtime. So he's got to work even more, which is insane. And go solar. I'm sure you told him, hey, if you just give me one family member a month for me to sell, I can make you 12 extra grand a year, right?
Well, I didn't see those words, but you know, so many words.
Signed him up as an ambassador on the spot. I like it. That's cool. That's good stuff. So I always draw a question mark on the bill. That's what this little lady with the crystal ball is like. When I always draw a question mark, you know, on the bill. Even scarier is unpredictability and the unknown. We don't know. And in PG&E, we could try that so hard right now because they just filed, right, bankruptcy protection again. They got all these wildfires and owing money and raising rates. We don't know what's going to happen with that utility. It's a big unknown, and that is scary for anybody, right? And if you drive that, they have this open wound, and when we're killing the bill, we're just jamming a spoon into it. I don't want to say we're spooning the customer, but that's basically what we're doing, right? We're putting salt on that wound, and maybe they didn't really feel the wound until we got there, but I'm going to make sure they know it's there and that they need to do something about it. And that's what we're doing right here. So control and predictability. So build the pain depending on the customer and their situation, get the customers to talk about how changing the rates affect them, build empathy, motivate action. I can help you take back control. Are you ready? I can also show you how to make money to help pay for even more electricity costs. That's what I just talked about with Dana. I'm always selling. I work mainly off of just referrals right now. I just get referrals from customers. And I'm always pitching that, even in the pitch before I close them. You know, I'm crazy. When I set the agenda at the beginning, you know, hey, for the next 45 minutes, we're going to cover this. We're going to go through your bill. I'll show you what we could do with solar, and then we'll get you to sign all the paperwork. And then in, you know, 60 days, we're going to have solar on your roof. I let them know I'm there to close them, and I get them prepared. And then, hey, and then I got a money-making opportunity for you just by giving me people you know and bragging about the solar on your roof. Super simple. So let's keep it going because I could talk. This is important right here. If the customer does not believe their electric rates are going to continue increasing at a high rate as they have been, you will not close the sale. So unless they are wanting to go green, like big time, but even Sunrun did a commercial making fun of those people, right? Oh, I'm about saving the dolphins. I don't know if you should YouTube that Sunrun commercial years ago about the couple that wanted to save the dolphins by going solar, but it's pretty funny. But even Sunrun made fun of it a little bit. So, but if they don't believe that their electric rates are going up, you did a poor job. Or maybe they're in a utility where they don't go up as much, but you still have to put a question mark. It's still unknown where it's going to go. We're lucky to have IOUs that go up all the time. So I see Richard Cohen. I know he's a Florida guy, but what's the unknown in the Florida right now on the utility bill? Or what are you driving that utility bill? Are they having price increases? What's going on there?
It's price increases all the time, and
yeah,
you know, with the hurricane now going through, it's made it even easier. You know, I had people here in my neighborhood, and all I talked about was, yeah, you want to come over and charge your phone, charge your laptop? I'll do it. Give me an electric bill.
Hey, I was watching. There's a TV show called The Neighborhood. It's on CBS. And just the other night, they had an episode that they got solar, and everybody was coming to charge their phones because all the power went out, except they had batteries too. So it's becoming a lot more popular for sure. Remember the Simon Sinek? He's talking about the early adopters, and then you got the chasm, and then we're past that chasm. Now's the time for everybody to go solar, right? That's the way I'm looking at it. So
and it's and FP&L and Duke, they just keep raising rates and raising rates and raising rates, you know. So
and you got to sell insurance too there in Florida, huh?
Yeah, we've got to sell insurance. Once they hit tier 2, you've got to sell it, and that's been the biggest challenge. Is a lot of insurance companies are dropping them. So I've got a couple partnerships with a couple insurance companies that will do those umbrellas for me, because that's the biggest challenge.
Cool.
Is that
I'm going to
umbrella.
have to talk to you soon, because I need to know a little bit about that.
Yeah, no problem. Let me know.
All right. So here's another important part when we're building the pain. This is emotional. The solar cell is emotional. I don't care what you want to call it. It's emotional. Ask emotional questions. How does that make you feel? Does that sound right to you? And I know when I'm reading this, you're already thinking, oh, I do these things. You know, because it's been so trained into us as sales reps, and you guys, you know, have the best with Terry and Bo and Anthony and even Dana. So I love Dana. He's my buddy. And then we have the best. And so they do these things without even thinking twice about it, right? They use emotional words: upset, angry, furious, frustrated, unfair, powerless. That's a good one. I like that. Unwarranted, crazy, nuts, ridiculous. These are important words to use when you're talking about the utility. And you may think it's not, but it is. It is. Okay, so this is, I'll tell you a funny story, because Anthony, when he went through our boot camp, this is something that they have. You couldn't pass a boot camp if you couldn't do this. Because before I ever show them how much they're going to pay for solar, before I ever tell them I could fit 20 panels on your roof, before I ever open my computer, I am trying to close them right here every time. Because what happens here is, if they say no, they're going to come up with objections before you ever even show them. So you're going to get those objections out early. You're going to overcome them. You're going to flip open your computer and you're going to sign it. That's what's going to happen, guaranteed. And if you get to this point after the bill and you do this trial close and they say, oh man, that sounds great, let's do it. Right on. What's your email address? Let's run your credit, right? Like right away, like let's get into it. Let's run your credit. And it works, don't it, Anthony?
Yes, sir. You know, it does. I mean, that's what I kind of mentioned in my message to the team was, this is how you close a deal before even showing the proposal. Yep. Right. This is the hard close. This is a soft close, but this is the hard close right here. Right. So when it comes to the numbers and running credit, there is no awkward headlock, none of that stuff going on. It just close you right here. One thing that I do is and this is mainly in home. If you guys have seen me on Zoom's different. It's a little slightly different, more different process. But you can still hit these points. But in home, I've already looked at the proposal. I already know it's $150, right? Or I already know the kilowatt hour rate's 18 cents, 16 cents, whatever. But Mr. Customer, if I could, blah, 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 lock you in $200 a month. That's something you do today? And you just, I know it's at 175, but I'm telling them $200 a month, right? Or whatever the kilowatt hour rate is, whatever the month is, whatever your go-to is. And that's what I do.
So, you know, I love this first line, to stop the bleeding. I know Chris Jackson, we termed it the stop the bleeding pitch. This is for the utilities that, you know, maybe they don't charge a lot, but they are going to be going up, and you could just save them just minimal amounts. But if I could just, you know, maybe it's not a large wound, but I could just stop that bleeding for you, get you into a solar rate that's no more than what you're paying today. That's huge. Like, because if I'm in PG&E and they're paying 40 cents a kilowatt hour, and I'm looking them in the eyes right here. I'm getting down and dirty with them right here. This is where it's all at, right here. I'm looking them in the eyes, and I want an answer for them, yes or no. Like, if I could do this for you, you know, get you in control of your own electric bill, you know, with a rate structure that's predictable, you know what your payment's going to be each month. Are you going to go solar with me today? And ask them that question. That it's so powerful. If you can utilize this when just killing the bill, it brings out objections, like I said, or they're like, yeah, heck yeah, I want to do this. So, you know, a lot of times you'll get, oh, well, we have one or two more bids we want to get or whatever. And I just say, okay, I hear that. I feel that. And I move on, and we get into the rates, and we get into all that after this. But you get that objection out, and then I end up closing them later on. But you get that first objection out, though, and anytime they're giving objections, it's because they want to do it, right? That's the way they want to buy, and so they have to come up with an objection. So, anybody have any questions right here? Because you don't have to say these specific words. You can put it into your own words. But this is how we tested people out of our boot camps. Like, I wanted you to kill the bill for me and give me a trial close, and see how you did. Anybody have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
Tesla's coming over at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. We have to see them first.
Okay. Awesome. I appreciate that. I understand the need to get multiple bids, but we haven't even got into the numbers here. How does this sound already to you? And if either I need to go back and build some more pain in the bill, because you got to see how much pain they are. Because I haven't even introduced numbers yet. So yeah, they're going to have some other guy come in and give them numbers, but I haven't even given them numbers yet. So, but yeah, if Tesla's going to come, right on. That's cool, but I like you like me. I'm here to sell myself. I'm into it like that. Like, I'm here to sell myself. That's cool. If you want to have Tesla come, right on. 6 to 8 months down the road, you might be looking to get solar on your roof. That's, you know, or you want to do, you know, 60 to 90 days. That's the way I look at it. So I'm not competing against Tesla. Go for it, Terry. I want to hear it.
Thank you.
Something that I find, if they're getting competitive quotes and they didn't tell me that up front, I've had people say something to me like, you know, is all of the solar kind of like what you're telling me about right now? And I find they're asking me that because they don't want to do this all over again, right? And so sometimes they'll say, why, you don't want to do this all over again? And they'll say, yeah, we've got so-and-so coming. And so I've had them go solar with me right there on the spot, even though they had another appointment coming, because they like me and trust me. And so when there was a study that was done in solar, it was talking about that the customer wants to know, will it work for their house, and can they find somebody that they like and trust? And so don't be afraid of objections. You know, like Tim said, they want to buy, so they're asking these questions. It's not an objection per se. It's, a buying question because they want more information to make a logical decision to move forward. Sometimes if they have somebody else coming, I'll go, oh, great, I'm so glad you're really serious about it because it's really important that you go solar. And then I just keep moving on. And so I'm not afraid of the objection, just handle it with a smile and just keep going. But it just because they have an appointment scheduled doesn't mean that they're going to keep that appointment.
Yep, I totally agree.
Building urgency like Tim is, and he's making it make sense, and they love you and they trust you, so they may just cancel that appointment.
They like and trust us, right, Terry? Because before we ever got to killing the bill, we were meet and greet and we were getting to know them. We were breaking the ice and we were laughing. We were having a good time. We were bringing up something in their home that we relate to, or in their backyard, or something that I saw, maybe on the walk to their main panel to look at their main panel. We're taking a look at a different, maybe they have some flower that about. We're building that trust. We're the whole time we're with them, right? That's the way Terry taught me. That's the way I believe in it. So I think that's how it goes, right? I think that's what we're all doing, what we should be doing. Yeah. And I know through Zoom it's completely different, but
don't you also find that when I wasn't on the call right away because I'm trying to help somebody that I talked to him before 2 months ago. We didn't move forward and he called me, but then he was giving me all the information from the other bids to see if I could beat it. Right. Yeah. So when I was first pitching him, he didn't tell me I'm going to go get bids and all that. He was trying to have me beat his current bids so he could use me for the solar. And I thought that was so nice. Like what a great thing for somebody to say, here's all the information. This is the monthly payment. Can you beat this? And so sometimes if you just build that relationship with them, like Tim is talking about, then later on, they may come back after they get their bids to see, can you do this better? I want to do business with you.
I've had customers call me a year later. I didn't even know their number anymore. And they were like, hey, remember I told you I was going to do solar with you. It just wasn't the right time, but we're ready to go now. I've just out of the blue. I think it has a lot to do with my God that I serve, but I just think it's also, me getting there and building trust and them liking me too. So I got 2 participants raising hands. I love it. Let's go. Whoever's next, let's do it.
I think Richard was next.
Okay.
Hey, Tim, how would you overcome the objection of, and there's a lot of them out here in Florida, and I don't know how it is in our states. A lot of these electric companies have solar farms themselves, and they're selling a solar program that way, connecting them. I had a customer I spoke to this morning, and she was like, well, I'm on a solar program with Duke. What's the difference between that going with them, going with you?
Well, right on. We have the same thing out here in PG&E. So most of these counties, they go through their own solar it's for the generation charges, and it saves them about 6-7 cents a kilowatt hour. So yeah, it gives you a little bit of savings, but imagine if you had your own solar farm on your roof, how much it would save you. You're cutting out all the middleman, right? You're cutting all that out. You're producing the energy right on your roof directly to your home. It's going to give you even more savings. So if it works for the utility to do it and save you a little bit, they still make money. So it's going to work for you to do it directly on your roof, isn't it?
Makes sense.
That really goes back to that control and predictability as well, because as long as they're in control of your power, you have no control or predictability, right? You have your own system on your property. You have your own battery. In your case, Richard, you are in absolute control.
It just makes sense, don't it? People want control. People want control. They want to know what their bill's going to be. Those are the 2 most powerful selling points that we have, I think.
And that's how I sold it and talked to him was, it's more of now you have control over what you're doing. With that, with the electric company, you don't have that control, and this will give you the control and stuff. So she sent over the bill. So I was like, okay. We'll see what we can do.
And isn't it just cooler instead of writing a check to PG&E or who is your Duke Energy? If I write them a check, I don't see any of that money ever back. But when I own my own solar system, I'm paying against my own system. How cool is that? I am the big man, right? To me, that's a powerful selling tool right there. I am the big guy.
Cool. Thank you.
Hey, no problem. I love it. I love it. Did we have another question?
Yeah, Bo Cogden,
Oh,
Mr. Silver Fox himself.
I didn't have a question. I was just gonna make a comment about the getting other bids. I just had an experience, so I was just gonna reiterate a little bit about my experience doing it too. Not to beat a dead horse on it, but just one the deal that I just sold the other week. They had the exact same thing towards the end of the presentation. They said, "Oh, I'm gonna look at some other bids." You know, and it's just all about building that trust. Like, oh, it's awesome. I'm glad that you're actually looking. You're serious at doing it. You know, lets me know that you are serious about doing this, right? It helps me know that you're going to be a little more educated on what you're doing, right? And so I was like, that's totally fine. Like I actually encourage people to get more bids, making sure that you are aware of what you're doing. But then what I did is I just went into the soft close, right? I just did, okay, well, that's awesome. Let's just make sure you're qualified, right? If you're going to get these other bids, make sure that you're actually going to get qualified to even get solar. So I just went in and did a soft close, make sure that they're check their credit and
Yep.
And they passed. And he's like, awesome. He's like, I'm so glad that I already know that I want solar. So we went ahead and closed the deal. So
awesome. That was good stuff right there. So you basically, let them know I totally hear you. I understand. And how about if we did it this way and close the deal? I love it. ACEs. I think it's a sales term, ACEs. I actually have a video. If I finish this quick enough, I'll let you. It's like a 1-minute video about how to use ACEs as a overcoming objections. We used it to train our door knockers, but it works in the sales pitch too. It's pretty cool. So the trial close, awesome. I think we all get that. I could send this to whoever wants it to. Plus, I think they're recording it, so which is cool. So if they say yes, we know. If they say no, don't go any further. Draw out all the objections. I talked about all these things. So, but if they say yes, what's your email? Let's run that credit right now. I want to know. Let's see if get you approved right away. So that's pretty much it on that presentation. But since I did mention the ACEs video, let me show it to you guys. I think it's beneficial. Is that okay, Anthony? It's my old boss with Sungevity. He filmed it, but we did these together, and it was pretty cool. We used it for training. I think they were Horizon Solar Power in Southern California was what the original company was with. Let me see if I can open this here.
We're a little bit past 7, but yeah, no, that's fine. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Right now we see the PowerPoint, so you may need to switch.
I'm going to switch it right
share, now. Yeah.
Okay, new share. Let's go to Eddie Taylor here. Share. Can you see this now?
Yes, sir. We cannot hear it though.
I can't hear it either. That's weird. Maybe I'll just email it to everybody.
Yeah, post in the WhatsApp maybe.
Okay, if I can figure that out. I don't know why I can't hear it, but it's just ACEs. It's a cool way to overcome objections, especially at the door-to-door, which I'm hoping most of us are doing. It's a cool thing, and but I'll post that somewhere. It's a pretty cool thing, but that's pretty much all I had. So
awesome. No, that was great. That was good stuff. And I think Bo was asking me to do the Kill the Bill presentation for a few weeks, and because I have the same PowerPoint, but I know Tim, he was gracious enough. He was my sales manager at one point multiple times, and brought me into different companies and stuff. And I learned a lot from him.
Anthony wanted to work at Radio Shack, and I said, no, we're doing this new thing at Acro Energy Solar. You might like it. It might be good for you. Now look at him.
Yeah.
Right.
So
wears a headset like a boss. Look at it.
So, Tim was gracious enough to join our team, and he just hit mentor recently as well. And I'm like, well, hey, let's let Tim hit mentor. And then we've had a few weeks, obviously, that we've had to push this back. But I'm super grateful that Tim was able to do this presentation. He is a mentor. He's available for any of you guys to utilize. He's full of knowledge, and he can definitely help you guys out future wise as well. Yeah, he's a beast. So yeah, thank you so much for that, Tim. If anyone else has any questions for Tim while we have his attention,
I just need to
And,
make a statement, if
yeah.
I may.
yeah.
So, Bo the Beard, magnificent.
I'm telling you.
Bo.
I've been trying to
Yes.
say that.
It's awesome.
He looks
love
great. He looks great.
It makes
Thanks,
me
Clayton.
question my sexuality.
Sexuality, oh,
And thank you, Tim, for a wonderful presentation.
Yes, yes.
I've gotten some nuggets to go away with big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. It was great, Tim. You did an excellent job, my friend.
You did.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well,
Thank
cool.
you, Tim. Appreciate it.
Richard,
No
are you
problem,
feeling okay, buddy?
I enjoyed it. It was
No,
fun.
I can't talk, man. I've been doing. I did a presentation today like this, and Lay's like, "What? What?" I pulled my wife in to help me out with it. I was like, "Come on." She was,
You
"I
all
don't know what I'm
texting
doing."
her?
I says, "We all learn as we go. Let's go."
We
Come
all
on.
learn as we go. Come on, mama. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, great stuff, guys. Yeah, so we killed it in September. We have a few more weeks, I feel, of solar season. Let's make it happen. And yeah, let's push our project managers. You guys, I'm sure some of you guys are on some of my projects that I posted a bunch of tickets today. But yeah, push project managers, let's get glass on the roof, and let's make it happen, guys. And let's finish out the year strong and have a good Christmas, huh? There's Alan Walker crushing it. Next mentor to be. He's making me eat my words. I put money down on someone else to reach mentor before him, and I'm gonna lose that money.
And we're not there yet. Though Lita is a beast, dude. So
Yeah, she may get 4 today. We don't know.
She's got some stuff in the works, believe me.
Yeah,
yeah, man, I know.
Yep.
So,
awesome. Well, alrighty, guys. Appreciate you guys.
All right.
good job,
All right.
guys.
All
Have a
right.
good
Yes.
week.
Awesome job, Tim. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tim.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, Richard.
I'm glad
I
you're
just-
on, Terry. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I just onboarded a guy in Florida. I'd like to connect you with him. He's going to be he's going to be needing a mentor over there. So
Yeah. Let me know.
Rich is pretty close to mentor as well, too, right, Rich?
Yeah.
He's getting real close.
2 or 3 or so.
Yeah. I
All
think
right,
it's
you'll
like
get some
two or three, something like that.
Yeah.
And I got a couple in the pipeline this week. So
Yep, he'll be there soon.
all right, guys. Good night.
Alrighty. Appreciate y'all.
Okay, see you guys.
It's these Miami clay tile roofs that are freaking killing me, man.
All
Yeah.
right.
The Spanish
That's,
tile.
everybody in Miami has a freaking clay tile roof,
Mm,
and they're freaking killing us.
yeah.
So,
Oh, man.
but no, we all good.
Well, Bo, you need to come down and play some basketball with Tim and Chris Jackson and everyone.
Okay, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, just drive down here real quick.
I'm fat and slow.
Alrighty, guys.
Me too. All right, see you guys.